No, absolutely. And I think that a lot of people have complained about the language used by the Prime Minister in that speech on immigration. I suspect much of the British public would actually agree with that sentiment and would also think that the language was appropriate. Now, in recent times, we've witnessed unprecedented levels of immigration from parts of the world where the prevailing social and cultural norms are vastly different to those which are mainstream here in the UK. And you've quite rightly mentioned, Martin, that in certain parts of the country, there's very intense forms of segregation. Along ethnic and religious lines, socially, educationally, economically, and residentially, overlapping forms of segregation. So while you have communities living side by side, they could be limited to no meaningful social interaction. So, in terms of being an island of strangers, I wouldn't purely blame that on immigration, by the way. I think that over time we've become a more individualistic society, whether it's the church, trade unions. They used to be vibrant hubs of social interaction. They've declined over time. So, are we an island of strangers? I think we're certainly headed in that direction for sure, if we're not already there.
And the data supports that. There was a report out in March, 2021 census data. So I expect actually 4 years later, it's even more exemplified. 1 million people in England cannot speak English well or at all. And in certain parts of the country, for example, in parts of Leicester, 43% of those over 16, so those coming into the country, speak little or no English. It's the same in Pendle, in Oldham, in Bradford, in Burnley, in Blackburn. And you'll note from those towns, Dr. Rakib Ehsan, there is a pattern. And it is what you're saying there, along ethnicity and also along religious divides. This is happening already.
No, absolutely. And for a very long time, our immigration system has failed to prioritize English language proficiency the way it should have. And I think that's a very serious problem. I think that having a solid command of the English language enables social integration, making headway in the labour market, and also connecting to the host country in a civic and cultural sense too. I think that the real problem we have here is that the level of immigration has meant that there's this constant population churn where you have in the 2021 census, it was revealed that at the northern part of Leicester city centre, more than 3 in 5 residents had arrived in Leicester up to the 10 years leading up to the census, just in the last decade, which is quite remarkable. And I think that with that rapid population change, what you need is a stable national membership if you truly care about social trust and mutual respect. And it's very difficult to do that if you have an immigration system which is defined by a lack of quality and quantity control.
Rakib, the measures made yesterday, the noises made by the Prime Minister, by Downing Street, having to have degree level, having to speak English, limiting the numbers coming in, do you think that will have any tangible impact on the situation in the short to near term? Or actually, do you think we've gone so far down this route now that Britain, the fabric of many parts of Britain, is perhaps forever changed?
I think there needs to be more radical action. I think that while the Prime Minister made the right noises in his speech, if you dig into the white paper, in my view, unfortunately, this is just tinkering around the edges. He talked a great deal about integration, but if we are serious about integration in that white paper, there would be provisions prioritising migrants who originate from stable English-speaking democracies. At the moment, we have large-scale migration from unstable parts of the world. I think that the cultural impact, people are very comfortable talking about the economic impacts of immigration. I think it's very important to talk about wage compression for lower-paid Britons, the lack of training opportunities because of that addiction to cheap foreign labour. But we need to talk about the cultural impacts. And the reality is immigration is a national security issue. And the fact that the term extremism didn't feature once in a 76-page white paper on immigration reform, in my view, is a very serious problem.